Good morning. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, May 7th, 9:30 a.m. meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
The usual. For those of you who have not appeared before us, the manner in which we conduct the hearings are as follows. First, we'll call for any adjournments. If there are none, we'll get into calling the calendar. A lot of the cases are renewals, and we'll go through them fairly quickly, and then we'll call the new cases. Once we call the case, the applicant is free to make their statement or statements. If there are any people who are objecting to any of the applications, they will then be given the opportunity to voice their objections. And finally, the applicant will then sum up and we will close the case. Once we close the case, there will be no additional evidence admitted. We take all types of evidence. We're not restricted. This is not a court of law. We take anything, just about anything you'd like to interpose. The proceedings are live streamed. You can refer to them later if you wish. We also have a court reporter. Court reporter takes everything down. I think that about does it, Patrick, for comments. Are there any applications for an adjournment?
No, sir.
Okay.
First case we have is case 131025 near Westbury Museum of Urban Arts amusement rides special event duration May 14th, 2025 through May 18th, 2025. Southwest corner of Old Country Road and Merchants Concourse running through to Zeckendorf Boulevard, also known as 1500 Old Country Road.
Morning, Chairman, members of the board.
Morning.
Richard M. Pavone, 308 East Meadow Avenue, East Meadow, appearing as the agent for the Museum of Urban Arts, requesting to hold a special event from May 14, 2025 to May 18, 2025. Subject location is 1500 Old Country Road in Westbury. That's the Lessem Mall. Also, this is at the Merchants Concourse and Old Country Road.
Mr. Pavone, would you just move your microphone a little closer?
How's that? A little better?
I think my ears are getting older.
It's one of my biggest things at this age. It's hard. It's hard to hear it myself, so I understand. With me today is Stephanie Solomon, who's from the Museum of Urban Arts. To the left of me,
Stephanie Solomon, 1500 Old Country Road, Westbury, New York, 11590.
Hey, can I ask you, is this a celebration that just started not long ago, a couple years?
Yes, this has been ongoing. This is the 4th annual carnival.
Okay, I remember when you guys started, right?
Yeah, we've been here for, we've been
I-
doing it in the community.
I remember the first year, and I guess I slept through the years 2 and 3, but nice that it's going well.
Me too, me too.
She is, just for the record, she may be hard of hearing, but she's also getting a little on in years, and she may be suffering early onset. Go on.
okay, so first date is Wednesday, May 14, 2025, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Thursday, May 15th, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, the 16th, 12 noon to 11 p.m. Saturday, the 17th, 12 noon to 11 p.m. Sunday, the 18th, 12 noon to 11 p.m. The event promoter is Bob DeStefano of Dreamland Amusements, Inc. There will be approximately 15 rides in the northeast portion of the mall parking lot with ample parking for the other mall patrons. There will be on-site portable toilets for people attending the event. There will be no alcohol served at this event. All music will cease at 10 p.m. each evening. NCPD has issued a letter which has been submitted to the board indicating they have no objection to this board granting an approval. All food vendors will secure a permit from the Nassau County Board of Health as required. Dreamland Amusements, Inc. has the requirement to have New York State Board of Health before the event starts to inspect all the rides for public safety. Sanitation will be handled by Dreamland Amusement. The Museum of Urban Arts is considered a 501c3 charitable organization. The money raised by this event will cover some of their operating expenses for the museum. Part of the event will have art displays, hands-on teaching to anyone attending the event if they so wish. Again, this is the fourth year of the successful past 3 years at this location, and we are respectfully requesting to continue.
Security?
Security will be on site also by Dreamland Amusement.
Are they, you know, we used to always have, you included, would say, security's gonna wear like yellow shirts that say security, or red whatever it is. Are they, it's useful that the security folks are identifiable, both to deter anyone who might engage in shenanigans, for lack of a better term.
So in response to that, Dreamland has an entire staff of their own security that secures the perimeter and throughout the property, because people come in with bands and stuff, and there's a lot of, you know, in between the rides, they have at least 4 or 5 people. There's,
Are they identifiable, though?
yes, they all have uniforms, and we also wear uniform T-shirts. All of the people that
Oh,
work
good.
on our team that host the art, interactive art events that happen with the community that day, we're all identifiable. So people, if they have questions or anything, they could.
Do you have any rain dates?
There aren't any rain dates.
No
but-
rain dates?
Yeah.
What is the nature of the interactive events? Like, someone gonna learn to paint, or?
Yeah, so we host different art walks throughout the year, but specifically at this event, anyone that is joining the carnival is welcome to come up and paint with the artists that are painting live. I'll have artists from Nassau County and beyond gathered. At least 15 artists will be here painting murals live, and the community is welcome to come grab a paintbrush and join in and participate in whatever.
Wow.
Whichever way they can, and whichever the way they want to participate. If they just want to look or they want to join in, they're welcome, and all ages are welcome, all levels of creativity.
Mr. Pavone, did you say Sunday it's gonna go till 11? We usually don't have that.
To 11 p.m., yes, that's the date. That's what was on, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Do I have a motion? From the bench?
I make a motion, a hearing be closed and be granted from the bench
Oh.
the rides and the event be granted a permit.
The motion is to approve the application from the bench. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Enjoy your event.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Have a good day.
it. Have a good day.
Why is there?
Next, we have case 19925, East Meadow, Freddie H. Padilla. Renewal of grant to maintain 6-foot-high PVC fence forward dwelling which may substantially obstruct line of sight, also known as 1897 Gerald Avenue. Mr. Chairman, there is an application for an appearance waiver on this.
Okay, this is a residential application. It's a renewal, so we will grant the application for an appearance waiver. The building department inspected the premises on February 21st, 2025, and they found that all conditions previously imposed by this board are being complied with. Do I have any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Chairman, I would just move that the hearing close, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar, and the applicant will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 225, Elmont George Shantz and Peter Shantz. Renewal of grant to use premises for outside storage and sale of building materials and maintain 6-foot-high fence, also known as 747 Meacham Avenue.
Yes, for the applicants, Robert W. O'Brien, 877 North Corona Avenue, North Valley Street, New York. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Chair, and members of the board. I represent the applicants, George Shands and Peter Shantz. Peter is actually here with me today with respect to the instant application for the renewal of a grant for the, that was originally issued in 1957 for use of the.
It was a good
Sorry,
year.
Mr. Tuck, did you- Some of us were very, very young in those days. To use the premises at 747 Meacham Avenue in Elmont for outside storage and sale of building materials to maintain a 6-foot-high fence.
Have you been to the site? I don't mean to interrupt, but I interrupted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pellegrini.
Have you been to the
I have
site?
physically been to the site, I've walked the site, and I know the building inspector, Mr. Quiro, had been out there in November, December, and he found
October.
everything to be in order.
It was there October 2nd of 2024, and he found that all conditions previously imposed by the board are being complied with.
If I may, a little bit of history on behalf of my client.
You may.
3 minutes. My client's parents and grandparents initially resided at Donovan and O Street, about 3 blocks from the subject premises back in 1929, almost 100 years. They started a coal storage and delivery business at that property, which eventually morphed into a masonry supply yard after World War II. You know, in those days, Elmont was farmland, and in each area that you'd find businesses. You'd find a candy store, you'd find a laundromat. In this case, you had the masonry supply yard in what eventually became a totally residential area. In approximately 1956, they decided to move the business to the current location. First constructed was the brick building that exists there today, and then the family applied to the town board for the storage of building materials. Ironically, at that same time, another local resident, person who used the word who became known as a little bit of a character in the area, mostly positive, was a property owner by the name of Teddy Lucenti, who circulated a petition, I see Mr. Organo nodding, of expanding his residence to a resident and bar operation. And Teddy's became a landmark, as my father used to refer to, a gin mill in Elmont, and still exists. I don't know that it's regularly open. I think it's only for special occasions, if it is. But
Is it, Mr. Regano?
be that as it may, another
Best
neighboring,
pizza- best
had great
pizza on the
thin
planet.
sliced, thin pizza. Another neighboring property owner submitted her own petition against Mr. Lucenti's
It's not open.
application. My client's parents signed the Lucenti petition, which created a lot of hostility amongst the people who didn't want Teddy's to go in there. So the opposition then set on a course of action, actively opposing future applications by the Shantz family, and made regular complaints to anyone who would listen.
Well, just so, for the record, there's no one here today.
What tells you a lot. Well, I would say, from what the family tells me, well, it died down about 45 years ago when the leaders of the opposition sold their home and moved away, as you would expect. And they've been in that location. The neighborhood, it fits in the neighborhood. It's favorable outlook from the neighborhood. You don't see anybody here. And for all those years, all those renewals, everything has gone well.
I do have a few questions.
Yes.
Because there are, looking through the conditions, there are a couple of the conditions that may not have been able to be examined, for example, the hours of operation. So are they still continuing to comply with condition 3? They don't open earlier than 8 and they don't stay open later than 6?
It's my understanding that that's it.
And then condition 4, any outside storage shall be limited to the area fence enclosed
Yes.
and shall not exceed 8 feet in height. That
And in fact, if you think about it, given the weight of those materials, you couldn't bring them in and out, number one, during the day if you wanted to show them to the public, and number two, they'd be out there, if they violated that, they'd be out there subject to theft. We live in a time where people have been known to walk away with things that aren't protected by fences or sheds or buildings.
What are the materials?
It's building materials, stone.
Lumber or stone or-
Yeah.
Both.
Exactly. So the reason why I gave you the little speech is that they're hoping that, given the factors and the history, that the board would consider making the grant permanent. You know, of course, those conditions can always be put into CNRs and would be subject to enforcement from the building department. That's my case.
Okay, you know, obviously, the condition that's most likely necessitated, as you know, was the fence condition, because we want, by making it temporary, we get the inspection periodically. But I suppose we can deliberate on whether or not we would make it permanent with the CNRs.
We would be very happy with that, but I would just ask the board to give its consideration,
Thank you.
and I thank you for your time.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision counter. Mr. O'Brien, you and your client will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 20125, Wantaw, Ronald E. and Meredith L. Katz, renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling,
Came in.
also known as 2380 Freeport Street.
Good morning. Ronald Evan,
Put it, face it down and get it closer.
okay.
It's hard to hear, bro.
Good morning. Ronald
Morning.
Evan Katz, 2380 Freeport Street in Wantaw, New York.
Morning.
11793.
Speak as loudly as you can, please.
Thank you.
Mr. Katz, this is a renewal of a grant to maintain a two-family dwelling. The building department inspected the premises on February 27th, 2025, and they found that all the conditions previously imposed by the board continue to be complied with. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Katz should be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Second.
good day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 20225 West Hempstead, Maximo Munaz, renewal of grant for variance rear yard special exception to maintain refrigerator/freezer walk-in box in conjunction with existing deli, also known as 168 Hempstead Turnpike.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is John Munoz. And what do you need, name and address?
Yes, please.
168 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, New York.
And you, sir?
Maximo A. Munoz.
Louder. And address.
19621 Como Avenue. That's my home address.
That's fine. That's where we would send our decision, so. Did you get the whole address? Okay. All right, you're here for a renewal on a grant for a refrigerator, freezer, walk-in box used in conjunction with a deli. The building department inspected the premises on March 4th of this year and found you to be in compliance with all the previously imposed conditions. Is there anything else you wish to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. In that case, if there are no other questions, do I have a motion?
I move that the hearing be closed, the case placed on a decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will receive a notice where you sign dead.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, folks, have a nice day.
Thank you.
Next, we have case 20325, Levittown, L Food Corporation, doing business as McDonald's. Renewal of grant to maintain one two-part double-faced detached illuminated ground sign, overall size 205 square feet, overall height 21 and a half feet, setback 14 and a half feet from property line, also known as 3839 Hempstead Turnpike.
Terrell Dozier, 134 West Hills Road, Huntington Station, New York, 11746.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So you are here to renew a grant, previous grant, for the signs associated with your McDonald's.
Yes,
in Levittown?
yes,
Okay, and the building department did inspect your premises on March 12th and found you to be in compliance with all the previously imposed condition. Is there anything else you wish to add?
no.
Okay, in that case, if there are no further questions, do I have a motion?
I move that the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will receive a notice.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, sir, thank you, have a nice day. Everyone in Naya Bachelor, please come up here, talking to you.
Next, we have cases 20425 through 20625. Levittown, James and Patricia Coino. Variance of front yard average setback, construct addition and roofed over open porch, both attached dwelling. Variance side yard, install AC unit attached dwelling. Maintain shed with less than required rear and side yard setbacks, also known as 28 Rigger Lane.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552.
James Coyne, 28 Rigger Lane, Levittown, New York, 11756.
Morning.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I'm representing James and Patricia Coyne of 28 Rigger Lane in Levittown. The property is located on the south side of Rigger Lane, 218.30 feet west of Stonecutter Road in the LPRD district. We're requesting a variance to construct an addition and a roofed-over open porch, both attached to the dwelling, and to maintain an existing shed and AC unit. The front addition and roof-over porch violate the average front yard setback of 34.9 feet. The front yard setback proposed will be 25.93 feet to the addition and 22.91 to the open porch.
What's the setback before the proposed?
The setback of the original house is 25.93, so the addition will be in line with the original house, so our front yard setback is not changing from the original dwelling. And then the open porch is 3 feet. It extends 3 feet out by 12 feet in length. There'll be a garage conversion and addition that will provide a bedroom and a bathroom for Rebecca Coyne, mother to James Coyne.
Wait, the garage conversion's not before us, though, is it?
No, the garage, it's just the addition that's coming out in line with the house that violates the front yard setback.
And your client will agree to a proviso that the open porch will not be enclosed in the future?
Yes.
Yes.
So this addition is for Rebecca Coyne, mother to James Coyne. Rebecca is a polio survivor with permanent disabilities who needs increasing medical and personal assistance. This will allow space for an ADA-compliant doors, accessible bedding and bathing facilities, as well as living space where where Rebecca can reside. I would also like to submit a letter from her doctor, as well as 4 neighbors indicating they have no objections to the board granting this variance.
We'll accept those in evidence.
As far as the shed violates the rear yard setback of 2 feet. The rear yard provided is 1.75 feet. The side yard required is 2 feet, and the side yard provided is 1 foot. The shed is 12 by 8 and 8 feet 8 inches high and does comply with all the other zoning requirements. The shed was purchased 7 years ago, and the company they purchased it from referred it as a Levittown shed and assured them that no permit was required. The shed is used for lawn equipment and things of that nature. Since part of the construction will include converting the garage to living space, the Coynes will especially need this shed for storage since there is no basement as well. The AC unit violates the side yard setback of 5 feet. The side yard setback provided is 4 feet. The AC unit was there when the Coynes purchased the home 9 years ago. Mr. Coyne is also here if you have any questions, and we're respectfully asking the board to grant these variances.
The shed is 1.75 feet. Does that include the
overhang.
cantilever, so to speak?
No, I would say that the measurement is from the shed, not the cantilever, from the wall of the shed.
She did.
It's 1.7.
We're not sure about that.
I believe she's correct on that. If I recall correctly, there's a slight overhang from the roof of the shed.
I guess to the bottom line, my point is, will the water run off from your shed to your neighbor's property?
It does not now, and we've had a lot of rain recently, and
We have.
we have enough space for me to walk back there, and it definitely rained on my head as I was walking back there a few days ago.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Not, do I have a motion?
I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Bengallo, you and your client will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Have a nice day.
Second?
Thank you very
All
much.
in favor? Any opposed?
I love having Dawn here.
Next case, Mr. McKeever.
Next, we have case 20725, Point Lookout, DS Real Estate Holding LLC. Variances, height, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, exceeds construction standards in flood zone over 30 feet above design flood elevation, construct dwelling with garage, demolish existing dwelling, also known as 80 Bayside Drive.
Yeah. Why? Plans?
Good morning, members of the board. For the applicant, Thomas McKeevitt. Whatever you wish, Mr. Chairman. Today is McKeevitt. It may be a different name another time.
Maybe McKevitt next week.
We'll see. Son Ward Braff Coscignano, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553.
Good morning. Damian Maggio, 80 Bayside Drive, Point Lookout, New York, 11569.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Again, I do represent the applicant here, and he is actually with me before us today. Before I begin, I do actually have several exhibits. I just want to let the board know, first of all, there are a number of photographs which I personally took last Friday at the property. They are fair and accurate representations of not only the subject property, but also surrounding properties. I also have 3 exhibits. One is actually of a decision issued by this board on January 11th, 2017 for 44 Bayside Drive. Another is from a decision in 2015 for 71 Bayside Drive. And actually, there's another one for 84 Freeport, which was issued in 2020, which I remember was during the days of COVID where we were on the Zoom or equivalent doing the hearing back then. So that's why I also issue those decisions to the board as well. This is 80 Bayside Drive in Point Lookout. It is indicated as Section 61, Block 25, Lots 3 and 4 on the land tax map of Nassau County. It's technically located in the Business X zone, the way it's zoned over there. But obviously, you know, we follow the Resident C requirements when you have a resident in the Business X zone. But technically, it is Business X. You have the Point Lookout Clam Bar just a couple of stores down. And originally, this was a restaurant at this location. It was a restaurant in 1933 when it was initially built. There was a 1968 non-conforming permit issued by the building department, which allowed as both a mixture restaurant as well as a residence. And after Sandy, the restaurant was gone, and it's been a full-time residence since Sandy at that point.
Mr. McKevitt, how far is it from, say, the Gordino house?
Say that again?
From like the Gordino house?
It's Gordino House is probably about 8 houses onto the west. He's much further west on Bayside.
Okay, how about from Scotty?
From Skies, again, that's much further to between this. You have my client's property. And you got 3 houses. Then you got the parking lot for the Point Lookout Clam Bar. Then you have the Point Lookout Clam Bar.
And then after that, Scotty's.
And then after that, Scotty's.
The Point Lookout Clam Bar now is the one known as like the Tiki Bar or something like that. Connected kind of to Fisherman's Catch?
The fisherman, yeah, the clam bar took over the Fisherman's Catch.
Took it over. Right. So again, that's really like 4 lots down further in the east is that restaurant.
single-family dwelling,
Yes,
and it will remain a single-family dwelling.
absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
go
you.
ahead with
Yes.
the presentation, but the obvious issue.
Height,
Yes.
yes.
And you already get, 30 from DFE, which is very generous.
Right. I will explain, and we got a long way to get to this point, but I will further explain, so yes. As indicated, this was originally a restaurant and a boathouse, and it's been a residence ever since. Property is 40 by 100 feet, totaling 4,100 square feet. The current setback at the current house is 10 feet, and the current lot coverage is 23.4%, and on the side yard currently is 9.6 feet on the east, and it's only 3.3 feet flat on the west. So currently, you're looking at 3 foot at that point. So the aggregate currently is 12.6 feet, and the rear yard is currently 28.2 feet. So in the application we have today, we're looking at a front yard of 8 feet, but again, we're currently at 10, so it's really not that much from where we currently are. The rear yard will be 31.5 feet, where 25 is allowable. The side yards is going to essentially be, it's going to be 5 feet on each side. The reason why it says 2 feet on the west side is there's a spiral staircase coming down from the side, which is only that minor portion on the northwest side of the property. So in essence, it really is 5 feet, which is again 2 feet more than we currently have of the property. Let me go and get right to the height, because I know the board, that's the biggest concern the board has in this instance, okay? So there's 2 places we're looking at the height. It says, according to the plans, that the height is 32.7 feet, but that's only for the elevator bulkhead. So my client has a disabled mother who'll be living with him as well, and he's going to go and have to require the elevator there. So if you look at the plans, you'll see that elevator bulkhead sticks up almost like it looks like a chimney. So if you want to look at, like page A4, according to the plans, that's where your height's coming from that instance.
But the roof itself,
31.2, yes.
yes.
Right. So again, if you want to go, if you look actually particularly on page A4 and you look at the north elevation, what we're looking to do is put in, essentially an outside roof deck, which again, other properties in the area do have in that point. And when you look at it, in order for just to go and get those doors out there, that's all it's going to be. And if you look at the portion that's a 31.2, it's only that very small flat piece. It's about that 5 feet, which is just essentially allowing the headroom on that. So when you look at the rest of the roof, it slopes down off to the front. So it's not like we have a full story anywhere near the 31.2. It's just essentially coming up the stairs, coming out the doors and out. That's all we have that height.
But if you look at that north elevation,
Right.
shows those 3rd story, 4th story, whatever doors, it's not just like, the traditional 8x8 elevator, whatever you want to call it, I forgot, bulkhead.
Right.
It goes across the whole width of the house.
Mm-hmm. Right. Again, it's just for the aesthetic appearance at that point, is what we're doing in that instance. Again, it's not, again, when you look at the slope on the front, again, slopes back. I mean, from the street perspective, I would argue that you would never even go and see that height.
But also, like, the finished first floor starts at 19,
Mhm.
when you have a 10 DFE, 9 more feet.
Just trying to follow right now. So, we have the first one. I'm just trying to follow exactly what you're saying, because I know, one thing I do know when we went through the process was, we made sure we lowered the heights of all the floors, so we're not talking anything with like a 10 or 12 foot of steel or anything like that. We're talking like 8 feet in each floor.
Well, it
to
shows
bring it-
elevation 10 for the DFE, right? Then it shows elevation plus 8 instead of giving the actual number.
Mhm.
And to the bottom plate, and then it says to the first floor, finished first floor, elevation plus 9. I presume that's plus 9 from the DFE. It's surely not plus 9 from grade. It's not, it's weird
Okay.
notation.
I just broached it, just trying to read this myself.
Yeah, it's not easy. You may need this.
It shows the DFE is the elevation 10.
Right, yes.
So instead of saying what the elevation of finished floor is, it just says plus 9. It almost seems like it's trying to be clever and
Okay.
obscure things.
Right. Mhm.
So I presume that means the finished floor is at 19.
Okay.
Because, I mean, right? I don't know how else to understand.
Right.
See, elevation plus 9,
Right.
and here's elevation 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that's 9 more feet.
Right.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense because, look, the crown, where's the grade, is that what? Where's the grade? 6.5?
Mm-hmm.
So you already get 3.5 feet for a garage.
Right.
To get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you need 9 more? Unless, I'm just not,
There, just looking at, I remember we went back over the architect so many times, and I think there was some reason for it, from my perspective, to get over under 30. That was my
yeah.
as to why
And
we
if the
let it go.
DFE is at 10.
Right.
And the grade, I guess here's 6.5, right?
Right.
So you have 3.5 feet for your garage.
Right.
So let's say you want 8, 9 foot, let's say you want a 9-foot garage. And you have 3.5, what do you need? You need another 5.5, right? So that would mean you could finish your first floor at 5.5 and sell the garage, which I know is important.
Yeah, exactly.
The point, look at. But why the finished first floor is at a plus 9?
Right.
When you need a height variance?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how, it's hard to imagine that this is 9 more feet
Mm-hmm.
from here to here, but it says it's plus 9.
Says it's on plans, right, yeah.
All right, so.
Okay.
All right, we'll figure it out. Thank you.
Is that the architect? He's got to explain it, because otherwise he...
Stephanie, let the record reflect that counsel for the applicant came up to try and, let me just finish, to try and help understand the elevation measurements.
correct. Yeah, correct. And all I can say is with Mr. Maggio too, is we went to have meetings before Mr. Albert at least a half dozen times to modify this to get as low as possible. Obviously, we were much higher than that. And so that's why we're trying to go and bring the height down. Again, during the, dozen conference calls we have with the architect, there may have been a reason for it, but we'll speak to the architect this afternoon. We'll get an answer back to the board. And obviously, if there can be an adjustment, we'll make an adjustment, obviously. But again, just looking at, and the reason why I brought in the other couple of decisions, just to give you an indication what we're dealing with here. When you look at numbers of photos 11 and 12, which are at 44 Bayside Drive, which is again about 3 houses away, that was granted by this board on January 11, 2017, with a lot coverage of 47.2%, which is actually about 3% more than what we're looking to do in this instance. And then when you look to the immediate west, and again, if you look at photos numbers 8 and 9, and more particularly, if you look at photo number 3, which is the rear of my client's house, as compared to the house immediately to the west, which where part of the inspiration came because my client was looking at a prior precedent issued by the board. That was granted under case 747 of 2015 under, again, August 12, 2015. And that actually has a lot coverage of 39.58% and a height of 35.58%. So I was granted. Now, mind you, that is back in 2015, is 10 years ago. I do acknowledge things have changed since then, but from the area character, again, that's still several feet above what we were planning to do here today. Again, I do understand things. It's 71 immediately to us. If you look at photos number 3 and 4, number 3, the White House, my client's house, and that house next to them is 71 Bayside, which is granted by his board in 2015 for a height of 35.58 feet. And you can see they have the 2 stories, and up there, it almost looks like a additional dormer on top, which literally overlooks my client's property. So again, when we were looking at the design of this, that's where the inspiration sort of came from. We're looking at what was already present in the community. But again, you make a very good point. We shouldn't be going up any higher than absolutely necessary at that point. We'll get clarification from the architect as to whether that's just a printing of the feet or whether, there's a structural reason. For some reason, I think there was some sort of reason why that height was needed, but I'll clarify from the architect as to what that was. That come down to. There's one other decision which I also gave you as well too, which was on 84 Freeport Avenue, which was the Quan House, which I had done personally. And the reason why I brought that up is that was also another precedent the board did where that also had a stairway bulkhead, which goes to well over 31 feet as well too. So again, when I saw other cases which was similar to that, that's where it grew inspiration. That again, there's a bulkhead there for the stairwell for a roof deck, which the board approved approximately 5 years ago. Yeah, that's my client board, obviously. I mean, we're looking, which they have not existed in quite some time. We're obviously looking to demolish this house, which will go and wipe this all out at that point. So that's really the point. But it was an interesting history when I saw the restaurant boathouse, and that was from 33. And again, 68 is when the residence creeped in there. It wasn't built that way, but then the residence and the boat and the restaurant was there in the 68 non-conforming permit. So. That concludes my presentation. Again, board, I will be in contact with council as to, again, the discrepancy with the height and to see if there was some sort of structural reason why that was the case.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. McKevitt, you and your client notified by mail the board's decision once it's rendered. Obviously, we're going to hold this and you get back to council.
Second.
Yep.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have cases 20825 through 20925. Woodmere, Michael Traub. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain second-story deck with trellis and stairs, all attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, construct a second-story deck extension with trellis attached to dwelling, also known as 714 Central Avenue.
Yes. Sorry. Michael Traub, 714 Central Avenue,
Woodmere, New York, 11598.
Morning.
Morning. I guess I can speak a little bit to this. So when we bought this house, there was a dangerous rickety deck back in 2018, and the person who had flipped the house said that he would build a new deck with permits for me as part of closing. We did it about a year and a half ago. For a while, it's kind of it was a little bit small for us to fit our whole family. So my wife pushed me, we have a 2-year-old now, 2.5-year-old, and we wanted to kind of expand it so we can have him play on the deck a little bit more. So we wanted to expand it about 11 feet just to continue to the end of the house. I went to an architect, I started putting in plans, at which point I found out that there was no original permit back in 2018 to when they had replaced the rickety dangerous deck with the new deck. My flipper was not available, and so that's why there's 2 things here. There's the maintenance of that deck that was made in 2018. He said he had filed the permit, but so that's what we're getting I guess, cleaning up what happened then, and now expanding it 11 feet just to be a little bit wider.
So the lot coverage that you propose appears to be 28.72% as opposed to 27.5%. This is Resby.
Yes.
The proposed second-story deck, a portion of that is outside of the footprint, right?
Outside of the footprint, what is that? So the house right now, so it's a high ranch, so most of the stuff is on the second floor, so we have a deck on the back. Right now, the house is like this big, and the deck is within it. We would expand it to just go to the end of the side of the house, which still has plenty of room before the gate and the clearance.
Okay, give me a second.
There should be pictures.
Weird thing, it's not a site.
No, that's prior case.
I can pull up pictures, I'm sorry.
No, I want,
Can't really accept that.
do we not,
No site plan?
we're just having trouble finding the actual site plan. We have something here that is something else, but
I have something from the website, from the BZA website that we filed, if I can show
hold
you.
on. We have one of our most, that's kind of this, that's what they accepted, this little thing in the corner of the paper.
This is a different piece of property.
We have nothing except this little footnote.
Dawn, oh, this looks, this is Bayside Drive. That's the prior application.
site plans.
But, we have a little footnote here on a different document, guess we're gonna have to use. So, the maintain the second deck, second-story deck, is the portion that's not hatched that says existing deck. But that was never, you discovered that never had a permit.
And that's, yeah.
Okay, and then you would like to extend it out to the side of the house, not really changing any of the rear or side yard setbacks, because it's only in line with either the existing deck in the rear or the side of the house on the
Yeah,
side.
there's patio below, there's concrete below.
Pardon me?
There's concrete below, it's just continuing that concrete patch.
Okay, and if the board were inclined to grant this, would you accept a condition that no portion of the area underneath either the existing or the new structure would ever be enclosed?
Of course.
And then let me just, where's the trellis? Can't see anything here. Do, can you say, can you describe where the trellis is?
When you say trellis, you mean the wood beams on top of the, I'm not sure what a trellis is.
Where is that located?
Sorry, what?
This a trellis? Yeah. Topography. Trellis is here.
It's, are you, okay, that's on the existing portion of the deck. Are you also asking to expand that to cover the new decking area?
Yeah, there'll be a few more boards to continue that. Just so it'll look the same.
Condition should also read that this will never be
Yeah, so
enclosed.
the chairman just mentioned that then we would want to get your acceptance of a condition that not only shall no area underneath this existing and proposed deck be enclosed, but no portion of the deck above shall ever be enclosed either.
Of course. Just to clarify, so I'm an Orthodox Jew, so on Sukkot, this is the holiday where we cover for like 8 days. We
Like to
cover
make
our
a,
porch. We just put
a
some
sukkah?
like, yeah, exactly, a sukkah. So we put, there's like this, it's like a mat of bamboo that we put on top of that trellis.
You want to be able
for
to
8 days.
temporarily do that?
Just 8 days. We don't have to cover the sides are open, but the top is there. So just-
Nothing like, yes, we would carve that out.
That's kind of why.
I mean, I think it should just be assumed carved out. We would not, that would not violate our intentions of what. Okay.
Okay. Just for the record, you also have some open building permits that will be closed out should the board decide to grant this application.
Yes. So, to explain, so we built a pool in 2020, we filed permits, we had an electrician, he did all the work. I did not know that they didn't close that out. We are not able to locate the electrician, my pool man was not able to locate the electrician. I've signed on a new electrician to do an electrical certificate for additional money that we got him last week. It took a while to find somebody who was willing to do it, and we will get that done.
So you know what needs to be done to close it
Yeah,
out?
the inspector told me there was an electrical certificate, and we needed these little alarms on the doors from Amazon, which we got. So it's just it should be the electrical certificate, and we're done.
He said you need them from Amazon.
Yeah, he told me where to get them. I didn't
Just
know where to
kidding.
get.
It's a plug.
Very helpful inspector.
Good, that's good to hear.
Any other questions? Any other questions from the board? Not, do I have a motion?
I will move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Sir, you'll receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's ready. Thank you.
Second.
Second? All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 21025 through 21125, near Island Park, Robert Madden. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, maintain addition, 2-foot cantilever and portico all attached dwelling, variance, lot area occupied, maintain shed, also known as 239 Madison Ave.
Lisa Koshia with Permits or Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Morning.
I'm here representing Mr. Madden, who would like to maintain an addition, cantilever, portico, and shed. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The existing front addition and portico have a front yard setback of 16.7 feet, where the average front yard setback is 25.7 feet. The front addition, portico, cantilever, and shed have a lot coverage of 32.24%, where the required is 27.5%. Please note that this is a substandard lot size of 5,100 square feet, so any improvements would require a variance. Had this been a standard lot of 60 by 100, we would not require any variances.
How long has the work been, how long has the shed, the addition been there?
The addition, cantilever, and portico have existed for about 20 years, and the shed approximately 15 years.
How'd your client come to know they needed to be legalized?
He just wanted to legalize.
How long has he had the house?
It has to be at least that, because he lived there with with those renovations.
And you said that the front yard, that you proposed 16.7?
Correct.
And the average in that area is?
25.7.
And so that's to the portico, right?
It's to the portico, correct. 16.7 feet is to the portico.
The 16.7 is to the portico.
Correct.
And what's the house? Is the house already smaller than 20? Is the house, what is the house, I know, what does the house maintain? Oh, it looks like maybe it's 26?
The house itself is 26 feet.
Minus 9. Okay, and then, is any portion of this encroachment a permitted encroachment?
Yes.
Or
As
is the
far
whole
as what
thing, the
part?
533 and the 40 is all,
26.
just want to,
25.7, so, I mean, no, not really,
Okay.
because once you put the portico, once you put that little addition on, you're already
but again,
close.
the house is maintained, continuing to maintain, just for the record, the house is continuing to maintain the 26, so it's just this small little section that jets out into the otherwise required front yard. Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, there's shrubbery that, it comes to Madison Avenue that looks like it's on your client's property that would obstruct the driveway to the south, I think. It's shown on Google Earth.
On the south section, so if I'm looking at the house on the left side, are you seeing that? Okay, because I know his driveway area is on the right side, or I guess the north side, if you want to say. Okay.
Here,
Where's
this
his
is the
driveway?
neighbor. His is
No,
over,
where's the
he
applicant's
parks on
driveway?
a lawn. Well, it's not dirt, it's not paved.
Are you asking about the shrubbery?
Yeah, you don't see
I
it?
don't remember the shrubbery, but I can make a notation. Are you saying you believe that it's a obstruction for the neighbor?
Yeah, it definitely is, based upon Google Earth.
Okay,
So you'll have them remove that?
sure.
Well,
You can ask him to trim.
I will have to think about how much shrubbery.
Can't see it.
Okay, so what would have to be, how many feet?
I mean, I don't,
Okay.
like, cut it back a little maybe.
Okay.
I think, are we all, any other questions?
No.
Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Chia, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor? Any
Thank
opposed?
you. Have a happy Mother's Day. No, I don't. Sure.
If you're a mother. In some cases, it's half the word. It's half the word. I know. You know.
Next, we have case 21225 through 21425. Levittown, Michael P. Madden and Joan E. Passarella. Use variance, maintain detached garage converted to recreation room. Special exception to maintain second accessory structure, pond exceeding horizontal maximum. Special exception to maintain third accessory structure, gazebo higher than permitted, also known as 32 Circle Lane. Just
Not yet. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. I am Joan Passarella, here with my husband.
Michael Madden, 32 Circle Lane, Levittown, New York, 11756.
We are presenting cases 212, 213, and 214 in the absence of our expediter, Diane Powers, who unfortunately cannot be here today due to a death in her family. We respectfully request all three cases be heard as one. The pond. We are requesting a second accessory structure to be allowed for our pond. Code allows only one accessory structure, and the first one we have on our property is a shed. We are also requesting for the horizontal dimension of the pond to be allowed at 17.2 feet, and this is the size of the form of the pond, where the code allows it to not exceed 12 feet. We are asking for the 5.2 feet difference to be allowed. Kindly note that the setback requirement from the property line is met, and please note in the backyard is fully fenced in on all sides. The pond and koi fish are over 15 years old and came with the house when we purchased in 2018. At that time, the issue of getting a variance or any kind of permit was not disclosed to us, and it is our desire to properly legalize this accessory structure, as we love having the pond and the fish to enjoy.
Okay, so the pond, you've covered that, I know. The only relief you need for the pond is a special exception because it's an additional accessory structure, and then the horizontal at 17.2.
Correct.
Then the other structure, the third accessory, is the gazebo.
Which I'll cover next.
Okay, and that needs height. It's allowed to be 9.
Correct.
What is it?
Okay, so the third accessory structure is 9.5 feet.
Okay.
Where the code allows not to exceed 9 feet, so we are requesting the 5-inch difference to be allowed.
Okay.
The gazebo is open-sided and contains patio furniture.
And would you accept a condition if we were to allow the gazebo that it never be further enclosed?
The only thing it has is
Mesh
mesh
screen.
for bugs. But
Okay.
yes, it would definitely never be closed. It is only because we have no trees in our area where we would entertain, and we just needed sun cover.
Okay. Now, Becky, they need a use because they have a detached garage that they converted to a rec room. In that rec room, you have power. Do you have heat?
No heat except a plug-in,
Heater.
a plug-in electric heater for cooler weather.
Any plumbing?
No plumbing.
What is it? Your kids play in there, or is it an exercise room?
It's my husband's pool table.
Okay.
Chairs, tables, and a man cave.
Because there's no basement, so.
There's no basement, so we're using it for that and hopefully for future grandchildren.
Okay. Now, Becky, this is a use because,
What type of alterations have you done in the garage to make it the man
Sure.
cave, so to speak?
This is the original garage from 1958, and when we purchased it, we found out that the walls and studs were termite-ridden and moved when you pushed the walls, and the floor slab was cracked in multiple areas, as well as the garage door did not meet the floor, so every time it rained, it would get flooded out and rainwater would come up. We decided to make it, we had to make these repairs and decided to make it a recreation space, as Michael said, because we don't have a basement, but we did have a pool table. We also kept the footprint of the garage. It is exactly the same structure except for repaired or shored up studs, as well as a re-pour of the garage floor, at which time they added the footings in the corners, because in Levittown, they're just, the old garages originals are sitting on a slab, so these are now footed and correctly stabilized. We reused the same siding after took the siding off, did weatherproofing, put this original siding back on, and we added insulation, fireproofing on the ceiling and the wall abutting our neighbor, and then put up sheetrock and painted, and we put just decorative collar ties at the top. And,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm impressed that you're very knowledgeable. You gave a very nice presentation.
Hey, Becky.
We have pictures.
Because this is a use, but when you look at what's actually being asked to do there, it's nothing. Am I correct that, and I'm not suggesting this be done, but just so I can understand, because use is a heavy lift, but there's a little 4 feet between this garage and the house. Again, I'm not suggesting it be done, but just so I can understand, if they built the 4-foot breezeway, then they would end up needing a variance for conversion and side yard, right?
Well, they just need they would just need a variance for side yard.
And not a use.
Not even,
Not a
so
use.
in essence, it's solely because it's detached.
But we don't want to do that because then there are other building code complications. and
I
then
understand.
additional
I'm just
work.
saying, in the way of understanding, even though it's called a use, it's such, it doesn't,
It's a variance for the definition of the structure. That's all. It's a variance for the
Yeah.
definition under Article 2.
because when we think about applying the use test, things like this kind of dilute the seriousness of a use, because in essence,
A use because we don't have another term.
so Christine, we can figure out how to draft that, so, you understand, okay, all right. Is there any-
It's our intention to never rent this out, never add a bathroom, never add plumbing or anything like that. It is strictly a pool room right now, and we have very many friends and relatives that are allergic to our cats in our house, so when we entertain, those have a place to go to, and it's just a,
Are you going to add one of those keganators or whatever?
no, you're not.
How do the cats get along with the fish in the pond?
They're indoor cats
They're all
completely.
indoor.
Yeah, and we had 22 when we bought the house, we're down to 19,
Fish.
weather and other
Fish.
things.
Not cats.
I was
Oh,
going to
not
say
cats.
cat.
No, not 22 cats.
I said that wrong. But the fish are giving us more enjoyment than we imagined.
You plagued by raccoons? Do they come?
Raccoons, possums, the blue heron comes by a couple of times this summer.
What, a
Not
blue heron?
one. They're
One.
like enormous, same one every year.
And they just
They
ignore 'em.
never bother the
Really?
fish.
Yeah.
Outdoor animals will go down the little waterfall and step and drink out of it. It's wonderful. It's really cool.
That concludes your presentation.
Yes, it does.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion? Oh,
Hi.
question?
So you had a garage that was falling apart, and then you rebuilt this and you put windows in the front instead of a garage door. You
Correct.
put a sliding door in the back.
Yes.
And what about those windows on the side? Were they there before?
They were not there. There
So-
was an original door that is still the same position on the side of the house, on the side of the garage, but the front is now windows, and the side and back for light are windows.
Okay, thank you.
I have pictures if anyone needs to see what it looks like.
Because it was a
Before and
garage and now it's a recreation room.
Correct.
And you did it without getting a permit, correct, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's, you know, it's sort of like an extension of your house.
It's not attached, and
No,
it's...
I know it's not attached,
Okay.
but it was a garage.
It was a garage, correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from the board? If
Oh,
not, do I have a motion?
One more point, we have plenty of driveway space, and the front of our house allows for 3 cars as well, so there is no
How many
detriment
cars
to
do
our
you have?
neighbors. Just one.
Just one.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed and the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it is rendered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Second.
much.
Thank you.
Have a
All
pleasant
in
day.
favor? Any opposed? We're going to take a 10-minute break before we call the, is it 11 o'clock? Almost. It is, 10:53. So we'll come back. She didn't need any help. Go on this one. On this one this afternoon. This kid is a newbie. They're sending her in. She apparently isn't as seasoned as the firm would like. Alteration, construct new seal required. Okay. Patrick?
Next, we have case 6125, Woodmere, Ian J. and Kelly M. Magor. Variances, rear yard, side yard, maintained second floor addition attached dwelling, alteration and construction in excess of 50%, new CO required, also known as 70 Brower Ave.
Richard Bronchick, B-R-O-N-C-H-I-C-K, for JL Drafting, 707 Route 110, Farmingdale, New York.
Neely Firshman, working for JL Drafting in Route 110, Farmingdale, New York.
Yes, ma'am. We are requesting two variances to maintain a second-story addition. The first is to reduce the side yard setback from 5 feet to 2 feet, and the second is to reduce the rear yard setback from 5 feet to 2.6 feet.
Wait, the rear yard from 5?
The rear yard from 5 to 2.6 feet.
Becky, is there, usually a rear yard is 15 or 25, depending on how many stories.
This is, well, I was about to say, this is a non-conforming lot, has a CO for the house, and this was, this is what was originally a split-level house. The west side was 2-story, the east side 1.5 stories. The owners, yeah.
Becky, they're before us for this addition and over 50% new CO. He says it's non-conforming. Excuse me, Dawn. Do you have an actual non-conforming letter?
We have a certificate of occupancy.
But with this amount of work, if there was a non-conforming, it's gone then, right, Becky? Because I'm not sure about this it was never 5 unless, if it was.
Forming one-family dwellings and detached garage on one plot. And then it was subdivided. He's doing construction in excess of 50%, which requires the property to be built as a new dwelling, so he is required to get all new variances for all of the setbacks. Correct.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Don't worry.
All right. as I was saying, the west side was 2-story, the east side 1.5 stories. The owners raised the roof on the east side so that the house is now a full 2 stories. This construction did not increase or alter the existing building footprint. The current rear and side yard setbacks are exactly the same as prior to construction. The purpose of the additional space is to add a master bedroom and a master bathroom.
But that's already happened, right?
Right, this is to legalize existing work.
And what is the rear yard? Sounds like you're saying that things didn't change, but the rear yard was a 5, and I think you're proposing a 2.
Well, no, what I had said, which you apparently are correcting me, I said we were asking to reduce the side yard setback from 5 feet to 2 feet. 2 feet is existing, and reduce the rear yard from 5 feet to 2.6. 2.6 is existing. And that was existing before this work was done. So we haven't changed those 2 existing setbacks, either on the side or the rear. As far as the reduction from 5 feet, yeah, what was the required, I should say. Well, this is the first I'm hearing of it, but yes, I understand what you're saying, sir.
But these changes, I'm sorry if you already said it, when were these changes made?
Just in the last, you mean the construction? It was just in the last few years.
The things that are before us?
This-
Recent.
What's before us is the 2nd-story addition, and that's, work has been done just within the last
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay,
So-
Nikki, pardon my ignorance. But they're putting a 2nd story on, right? What about that makes it different than others in that they need a new CO? I know it's
Doing more than
50%, but,
50%.
I mean, we often get people putting a whole 2nd level on a house and they don't have that. So just net, they're changing it more than 50%, included this, and, okay.
Yes, there are interior alterations besides the issues for the variance.
Now, a
But
silly question, what made you work without a permit or continue to work different than the permit which was issued, if it was issued? Why did you
There
get the
was no
stop
permit
order?
issue.
The clients had hired a contractor who was their understanding was getting the permits, and then they got the stop work order and found out that there was no permit.
I think we should start making a list of these contractors who do this to people. The fence guys too.
No, I understand.
Okay, so all the work is finished now or not? It's
No.
stopped because of the stop work order still?
I believe it's almost.
It's just a shell.
It's what?
It's a shell.
Just a shell.
The shell of the.
Gutted inside completely.
The whole first floor is gutted?
The 2nd and 1st floor are gutted.
You're not living there.
Nobody can live there, no.
How long ago was the stop work order issued?
2 years ago?
Did you say 2 or 3?
2 years ago.
But what he's saying is,
And just so, I hate to reiterate, but this 2nd floor addition, so a 2nd floor addition is always fully on top of the existing floor, because otherwise it would be a 2-floor, right? So the 2nd floor addition is on, but gutted, right? And it's wholly over the existing footprint.
Yes.
Okay, and the footprint of this house did not change with any of this construction. Is that
It
correct?
did not change, and the 2nd floor addition is only on half of the house. Since it's a split-level house, the right side of the house had the addition of the 2nd floor. half of the house.
That's a very, very small rear yard. What's behind the house? Another house or? Oops. I can stop for now. As long as I didn't knock the chairman's off, I'm okay.
So what's behind the garage? I mean, behind the house?
I believe there's a garage of the neighbor in the back.
Okay. Nice.
And your structure's gonna be 2 feet away from that garage?
Correct. It is there already.
Wait, is it, the smallest rear yard is not your garage, but it's your house. Is that where the other neighbor's garage is?
I believe it is.
Are there trees or something? I mean, how do you not know what's back there?
Yes.
I mean, because you said I believe, so I'm assuming you can't see
I couldn't see
because of trees.
because
Okay.
there's a fence and there's a tree.
And you've straightened out all the subdivision stuff, okay.
Excuse me, also, it should be noted that the second floor addition that we're putting on, that's there, it's not a full addition. It was already 1.5 stories. So they did basically just raise the roof somewhat and to put that in. A 1-story,
No, the first story is there. We are just adding on top of it.
she's talking about the front. Yeah, the 1-story front, yes, yeah, but
Of the second floor.
When was the original house built, do we know?
In the early 1900s?
So Becky, if we approve this, I'm not saying we are, but if this were approved, we're just legalizing what was there because of all the alterations they made, but there will be a CO that's not a non-conforming CO, it'll be a regular CO, right?
Well, can you put a car in the garage?
Yes.
And that's your intention to store automobile or some sort in the garage?
you're talking about the detached garage on the
Yes.
property.
The
They-
de-
What, do you have another garage? Do you have
Yeah.
an attached
No, I wanted to make sure he wasn't talking about the neighbor's garage.
No, your garage.
The garage is gutted as well, but you can put a car in there. That's the intention.
How, what kind of condition is the garage in?
Got it, she said.
I mean, how's the structure on the outside? You have any idea?
Yeah, I wish I had pictures for you.
We have some photographs.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
garage?
Inside, no sheetrock, no finished floor, nothing.
You show a picture of a structure with tie-vac around it. That's the house.
I don't know what picture.
Can you see this?
Yes, that's the house,
Okay.
yes.
Let the record reflect it is, page 1 of exhibit 4.
I have a problem that's so close to the other. Yeah, but the other, it's 2 feet away from the other guy's garage. Oh, I see, okay. So if this catches on fire, it's not gonna blow over to that?
For the time being.
Yes, the only other thing I'd like to do is if I could, I have a certificate of completion for permit number 07-1987 that showed up on the certificate sheet as open. and it was closed out. We have a certificate of completion for that.
Yeah.
That was for, to maintain a dwelling on a lesser lot.
That was the CO or the CC from the house before this work was done?
No, it was, well, yes, in a sense, yes. This is from 1987, and I'm sorry, it's from 2007, and apparently, from the way it was explained to me, was that the building department didn't understand what this open permit was for, but we were able to close it out, and we have the CFC for it.
Oh, hold on. Becky, can you help us? Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We have, Mr. Kaplan, we have someone signed in opposition.
I just have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your garage, what kind of a garage door is there?
Right now, there's no garage door. It's like two
Doors.
two doors, regular wood doors, temporary.
So-
Nothing is permanent there. There's no garage, there's no permanent garage door.
Is there going to be a
course.
normal garage door that goes
Yes.
up like this, or are you going to have the old-fashioned?
I believe it's gonna be a regular garage door that goes up.
So it will be,
Overhead.
all right, that building will be used as a garage?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Would you like to state your objection?
Well, wait, you gotta get sworn in, but he can't raise his right arm.
Kenny Kaplan, 68 Brower Avenue, Woodmere, New York, 11598. Just want to give you a little history of what goes on here. I moved in there, or actually I checked the house out in 2006. I live in front of the house at 68 Brower Avenue. Yes, yes, yes. And when I went to see it, I noticed there was a little house behind there. So I asked the owner at 68, what's the situation with this house? Is it one property, two properties? And he said it's two properties. And a cute little house. And so I decided to go back there and ask the lady named Mrs. Combs the situation on the house, which is 70 behind.
You're saying that you're going to that, there was
Yes, yes. I went to Mrs. Combs, who owned the house at the time. And she told me they used to own the whole property. She built a second house. It became a flag lot. You guys know what a flag lot is,
Yes, sure.
obviously. Of course you know that. And she said, well, I'm actually going to sell this eventually. I will be moving in the next year probably. Are you interested in buying it? I said, thanks, but I can't afford two houses, but thank you. And I said, what will happen to your house? And she said, on a flag lot, it has to remain the same size. I said, okay, no problem. And shortly after she moved, I got a letter in the mail, and I guess this house was bought by the McGore family, by an Alex McGore. I guess his father purchased it and got it for Alex. And I got a letter in the mail saying they want to build this big house back there immediately after being told that it's a flag lot. It's not allowed. It's against the rules anyway because you can't have flag lots anymore.
Becky?
And it was turned down.
Is that accurate?
And now we're back. I'm just basically saying this house should remain the same size as it was back then. It was a one-level house. It was a cute little house. It deteriorated as time went on. And how much time do I have, by the way? I want to tell. Okay. So then, eventually, when Alex moved in, that's Ian's brother, I got my sewer line started backing up. There's a story here, trust me.
Okay.
And the sewage actually backed up into my basement. Had to pay a guy to come in. It cost like $1,800 to clean the mess up. It was disgusting. As time went on, it still kept backing up, luckily not into my basement, but the sewer line kept backing up, and I'm paying this, I'm paying that, and then it's like, man, I never had this where I lived before, but I guess I got bad sewer lines here. It's a house built in 1905. I believe the other house on 70 was built in 27, I believe. In 2018, it backed up again. The guy comes over, cleans it out, and says, you can't put wipes down there. Can't put wipes in your thing. I said, we don't have any wipes. I'm pretty positive. I told my family, we don't have wipes. I said, well, maybe they overlooked it and they have wipes. The guy cleaned the wipes out. A couple months later, the same thing happened. The same guy comes over, there's wipes down there. I said to my family, what are you guys doing? They said, we're not putting wipes down there. I said, something's fishy here. I said, maybe this sewer line is hooked up to 70 per hour sewer line. I called him Mr. Peter Pine, who was in charge of the sewer department. He looked into it. He said, you're exactly right. It's one sewer line for two houses. Basically,
Sewer department of the town or the county?
you know what? I'll tell you in a second. Hold it.
County?
It's probably the county because I have the new permit here. What
Yeah,
happened?
Miss First
It's the
says it's
you know
county.
Kim?
You can go ahead.
Okay.
She already-
Okay, it's the county. So they told me, I asked Mr. Peter Pine, I said, what do I do? He said, basically what the best thing to do is talk to the current owner, tell him the situation, work with him, have him put a new sewer line in. Because you don't want to do it now, because if you cut it off, you have every right to cut his line. The house is inhabitable. He can't live there anymore. He has to move out. Can't live without a sewer line. But work with him. I went over there, knocked on the door. Alex answered the door. It's Ian's brother. I said, Alex, explain. He didn't know what was going on. None of us knew it. I'm not blaming him. He didn't know. I talked for 15 seconds. He looked at me and closed the door. I said, okay, that was great. I walked away, go back home. Try a couple days later. His roommate answers the door and says, he doesn't want to talk to you. Just leave. I said, okay, so let me go to his mother's house down the street. Explain the situation. I've been burned for many years with a sewer line that's been one sewer line. It's illegal the whole time. Like I said, we didn't know about it. They didn't know about it. Told his mother. Said, it's grandfather. Can't do anything about it. I called Peter Pine back. I said, they say it's grandfather. It's not grandfather. You have every right to cut the line. If they don't want to work with you, do whatever you want. 2018. I never did it. As time went on, I still got backups, but I was a nice guy and didn't cut the line, which I could have. In 2000, so Alex moved out, I guess over 2 years ago. The house was abandoned, and then the construction started. They started putting the second floor up there. I called the county, and now Kim or Gary, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, she's now in charge. Peter Pine retired. So I talked to Kim, I can get the pronunciation, hold on. Just want to get her name, whatever. So Kim told me the story, I told her the whole story. She was like, wow, this is amazing. She said, she looked into it, and she said, yes, Peter Pine was exactly right. You have, Kim or Gary, you have every right to cut it off. But since there's no one living in this house now, and you've been a nice guy about it, you've been, 6 years, you haven't done it, this is the perfect time to do it now. There's no one living in it. It's not, they stopped the construction, but whatever. She says, whatever you want, I got the information for you. I'll get the permit for you. We'll do everything the right way. I did it. I believe it was the person I'm not sure who's in charge of the construction. It could be Kelly's father. I don't know. There's a gentleman there. I told him he was doing all the work there as a family. And he said, no problem. I understand. I'll get back to you. You got it. We'll get a new line put in. 5 months passed. Never heard a word. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I did it. I cut the line. And I told him. And he basically was livid with me. Livid. And then he told me also at the time that I was the person that turned him in for not having the permits, which I never did.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, that's the history of this house, what's going on. And it's been a nightmare.
So-
And like I said, it was a cute little house. It fell apart. And it's great they want to fix it up. Just want to keep it the same size, like it's supposed to be. It's a flag lot. And that's it.
Okay, one thing. So what's the deal with your sewer line?
The owners are prepared to install a new sewer line
sewer line.
to get the file for the permits.
Have they filed for the permits yet?
My they need a building permit in order to file for the sewer permit.
Because if they don't put a new sewer line in, I presume it just leaches into the soil or something?
No.
No, I mean, I'm saying, it's important that that not be overlooked.
Absolutely.
Well, we wouldn't, I assume we would not get the CO for the work.
I'm sure that's
right?
sewer line.
So they,
So that's, you're gonna, that's
Yes.
important.
right, in other words, but they need to get the building permit in order to file for the sewer permit.
The other issue, apparently you've resorted to self-help, to which you may or may not have been entitled, and your sewer line problem is no longer a problem, or it shouldn't be.
No.
If they're gonna put in a new sewer line. I asked Ms. First, who was with the building department, she's one of our senior people, and quite frankly, I've been practicing real estate law for 51 years, and I've never heard that you can't expand a property, a building on a flag lot just because it's a flag lot. I asked if there's anything in the code with respect to that, and she doesn't know of anything in the code. So whoever told you that that is the law or the case is probably mistaken. Got it? And they're not moving their building any closer to any of the lot lines, they're just going straight up.
And
Okay.
you're right, most of the time, flag lot alterations, because of the nature of flag lots, do require some relief. So a lot of the work on flag lots isn't as of right. So that's probably the shortcut way that this person was saying that to you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to look, nothing personal, like the Bronx, we have building after building, you know that.
Agreed.
Right. The flag lot is supposed to be where it stays like, that's why you have a neighborhood, to make it look nice, and you don't want to build a giant house. You know, like I said, this doesn't seem like a giant house they want. Originally, they did want a giant house. That was back in 2008 when they applied. They wanted to be, and that's a long time ago.
Water under the bridge.
One
All right.
other thing, so they're telling us that what they are seeking to legalize here is what's there. So that means there shouldn't be any more construction enlarging it further, and you're the eyes and ears as it relates to that. Okay, they're not seeking to make it larger than what it is right now.
It's not moving out, it's not moving sideways, it's
No.
not doing any of that
Correct.
stuff.
Not at all.
Right, that was the original plan,
Okay.
but it's not anymore.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to add at this point?
What he's talking about was in 2007, that's
Yeah,
completely,
we understand
Okay,
that.
good.
Okay?
No, sir. That
Okay.
concludes our
Any other
presentation.
questions from the board?
Who was the contractor? Because the gentleman here just said that a family member was doing the construction. Is that true? Was there a contractor? What was
there
his
is a
name?
contractor involved.
What was
but
his name that he didn't get a permit? Is there a company?
It's not a company, it's a private person with a truck.
Did he have a license?
With a truck.
Did he have a license? I mean, I'm
His name is-
curious because, you know, it's very disturbing that you build this structure without a permit. It's dangerous, and if he doesn't have a license,
He said that because you're going up and you're not changing the footprint,
so do you have the
Well-
name of the
I
contractor?
can get it for
Thank you.
Boris, does Boris have a company name, or is it just
He's a
Boris?
one-person-
Boris with a truck?
He's
Yeah.
a one person.
And we don't know
And
if
a
Boris
RV.
has a license.
I'll get you the information.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on.
The name of the company is Boris Master Builder Corp.
Do you know where he's located? Google him.
Is there any paperwork from this transaction? Or you know, a
With the
contract?
contractor?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So-
sure.
So
Does he
can
have
you give it to us,
insurance?
please?
We can provide.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move, Mr. Chairman, that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in, including you, Mr. Kaplan, will receive a copy of the board's decision once it's mailed, and once it's decided, sorry.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Next, we have case 14525, Elmont Priscilla Gordon, mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, also known as 1509 Surprise Street.
Good morning, Chairman Regano, members of the Board of Zoning and Appeals. My name is Jack Sidorowitz. I'm an architect at 2174 Hewlett Avenue, Merrick, New York, 11566. Good morning. I'm here with Priscilla Gordon and one of her sons, Sanjay, to present the case for mother-daughter at 1509 Surprise Street, under building permit application 24-4304. So we've submitted plans for the mother-daughter, and the Board of Architecture Review has accepted the plans, and obviously disapproved for mother-daughter, so we can go to the Board of Zoning and Appeals. And we also submitted an interior alteration application for the mother-daughter under 24-4738, which was approved by the plans examiner. So the intent of this application is to provide a floor plan for a mother-daughter and the creation of a new kitchen on the ground floor and a bedroom based on the plans that were submitted in this application.
You just refresh my recollection as to why it was adjourned twice. If you said it, I apologize.
The first time, the owners were not here, and the second time, I believe...
Oh, is one of them, are you a doctor? Is it that case?
Yes, this is...
anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist, and the other son, Kevin, is a nurse. He's out of state today.
Okay, I remember you guys had schedules.
Sanjay
that
is a
were-
nurse, and the other son is an accountant for Price Waterhouse. He's out of state.
All you need is a lawyer, then you got a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, and an accountant. It'll be good family, good thing at Thanksgiving, everyone will get all their stuff taken care of.
That's right, that's right.
I'm gonna just quickly, for the record, every time you have a mother-daughter application or immediate family, Board of Architecture reviews them, see whether or not the house is suitable for such a use, and whether or not it can be, it can revert back to single-family residence at the cessation of such use. They make recommendations, and we usually give the applicants an opportunity to explain why certain recommendations may not be feasible, either because safety of children, safety of pets, maybe it's too costly. So I just need to put it on the record, in the case of this application.
Could you give me the
Board of
search?
Architectural Review has determined that
Thank
it is
you.
both
Okay.
suitable to be used as a mother-daughter residence, and it is suitable to revert back, to a single-family residence at the cessation of that use.
Thank you.
There are no recommendations, and that's good for you.
Okay, so Priscilla Gordon, if you look at the plans, the owner, Priscilla Gordon, will be living in the shaded area.
Boy, shade is expensive and shade, you must be the site.
Oh, floor plan.
Can you describe it a little better than shaded, because my stuff's not shaded? Front, back, side, up, down.
Well, it is a corner lot, so the house is on a corner. So if you're looking at it on, from Surprise Street, okay.
Looking at the house from the front, let's do that.
Okay, that's Lear Avenue. Okay, so there is a front entrance portico, portico with a vestibule, and you come in, and basically that area is a living room, which is now going to be converted to a dining and kitchen. And to the left of that, part of that living room is going to become the bedroom for Priscilla Gordon. And you continue to proceed towards the back of the house. There's a washer dryer, there's an expanded bathroom. And then you'll go to the right, and there's the other kitchen. And then you continue up the plan to the dining room, and then the back room, it would be the family room.
So that's 2 units right there.
Correct. Well, one of the units is just the dining and kitchen, and the rest of that second apartment is on the second floor.
Okay, so the front of the house is gonna be occupied by who?
By the son, Sanjay.
That would be the front?
Front right.
Floor, and
Right.
then he goes upstairs.
Correct.
Oh, wait. Yeah, hold on.
He goes upstairs,
Upstairs.
and then he has this full second floor. And the
Yeah,
bed,
wait,
and the,
he goes upstairs.
and at the top of the stair, there's a bedroom, and that's going to be converted to a living room. And then the remaining bedrooms will stay. And we're just adding another laundry, stack of laundry.
Does the back of the house on the first floor have any second floor?
No,
Okay, so the back first floor is 1 unit, the rest of the house is the other.
correct. If I may approach and just give you this plan, because it has the shaded portion, or
So
you can see it,
Priscilla is gonna have the first floor back,
yes.
and then you'll have, with your family, first floor front and upstairs. Okay. You better make sure those kids aren't. Yeah. Especially with the doctor's schedule.
Your client is aware of the mother-daughter conditions, that one doorbell,
Yes,
one mailbox?
yes,
And they're aware of the fact that if they cease to occupy the home, the mother-daughter
reverts back,
reverts back?
yes.
How many cars do your clients have?
3.
And is there room to park all 3 cars on the property?
There's room to park two cars.
And is there any restriction with regard to on-street parking?
No,
Okay.
I didn't realize there was a basement in the house
yes,
with a full bath and a few rooms with closets.
that was maintained under a separate application and approved and permitted and closed out with the CSC.
So that basement with that bathroom is all, that's interesting, because usually the BAR would say, provided there is no illegal occupancy in the basement, and this one doesn't say that. Wonder if they realized there was a basement. Becky, usually the BAR says, especially when there's a bathroom and a separate entrance.
You know,
What
I
do
think the plans examiner probably knew about it. The building permit number is 20-20052, and that was maintained in, I can't read the date on it.
Which of you, unless you're gonna share, is gonna use the basement?
It's gonna be mostly in my area or in his area, it's for storage, refrigeration.
Okay. All right. I'm surprised the Board of Architecture Review didn't address it.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it is rendered. Thank you guys for being patient all morning, and have a nice day.
Second.
All
Thank
in
you very
favor?
much.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
That concludes
Have a
the
good day.
morning calendar. We'll take the 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and do decisions. From the bench. Case 199 of 2025 East Meadow, Freddie H. Padilla is a renewal of a grant to maintain a 6-foot-high PVC fence forward of the dwelling which may substantially obstruct line of sight. Property address is 1897 Gerald Avenue. There was an appearance waiver that was granted. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, file number 199 of 25 East Meadow, Freddie H. Padula, renewal of grant to maintain 6-foot-high PVC fence be granted with same conditions. 5
Second.
years.
All in favor? Okay. Case 200 of 2025, Elmont George Shands and Peter Shands, renewal of a grant to use the premises for outside storage and sale of building materials and maintain a 6-foot-high fence, property address 747 Meacham Avenue in Elmont. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion? You have it?
He asked to make that permanent and file CNR, and because it's a business, I'm not opposed entirely, but it's up to you. Okay, good.
No, I don't want to make it permanent.
Okay, I make a motion on 225 Elmont, renewal of grant to use premises for outside storage and sale of building with conditions.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5 years, right?
Yep, temporary, same conditions.
Yep. Case 201 of 2025, Wantor Ronald E. and Meredith L. Katz, renewal of a grant to maintain a 2-family dwelling. Property address is 2380 Freeport Street in Wantor. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion? Sure.
Why does it need to be granted? Why can't they just make it a 2-family house?
Well, one of the conditions, well, they're not permanent because one of the conditions is that they be owner occupied.
Oh, I got you.
So, if
So
that changes, then
So
it
why does-
reverts back to a
So why
1.
does so in other words, it was originally a 1-family house granted to a 2-family?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I don't understand.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion on case 201 of 25, Wantor Ronald E. and Meredith L. Katz, located at 2380 Freeport Street, be approved as requested with normal 2-family conditions.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Temporary. Case 202 of 2025, West Hempstead Maximo Munoz, renewal of a grant for a variance, rear yard, special exception to maintain refrigerator, freezer, walk-in box in conjunction with an existing deli, 168 Hempstead Turnpike. Any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move.
You were chairing this one because
She was chairing.
so.
Oh, good one,
You
Patrick.
can't make the motion.
I move that case 202 of 2025, Maximum Muniz, the renewal of a grant for his delicatessen at 168 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, be granted for a period of 5 years with the same previously imposed conditions.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Case 203 of 2025, Levittown L Food Corp., DBA McDonald's. There's renewal of a grant to maintain one two-part, double-faced detached illuminated ground sign, overall size 205 square feet, overall height 21 and a half feet, setback 14 and a half feet from the property line. Property located 3839 Hempstead Turnpike. Mrs. D'Amato was chairing that case.
I move case 203 of 2025, location of property is 3839 Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown, be granted as requested with all prior conditions.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next case. Cases 204, 205, and 206 of 2025. Levittown, James and Patricia Coyne. Variance, front yard average setback, construct addition and roofed over open porch, both attached to dwelling. Variance, side yard, install AC unit, attached to dwelling, maintain a shed with less than required rear and side yard setbacks. Property is 28 Rigger Lane in Levittown.
No, you want to make sure there's no enclosure
No
condition.
Yeah.
I move case 204 to -20625, Levittown, James and Patricia Coyne, variance front yard setback, construct addition and roofed over porch, both attached to dwelling, be granted with the condition that the porch does not get enclosed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Case 207 of 2025 in Point Lookout, DS Real Estate Holdings LLC. The case affects the property at 80 Bayside Drive. I was actually going to inspect that, and I think we were waiting for some additional information too. So we'll put that on reserve. Next case is 208 through 209 Woodmere, Michael Traub. Properties at 714 Central Avenue. It's lot area occupied, maintain a second-story deck and trellis and stairs, all attached to the dwelling. In this case, he did agree to no enclosure either of the area below the existing and proposed decks, and in addition to the area above, on the second floor of both the existing and proposed decks. Is there any discussion? If not, is there a motion?
I make a motion on 20825, Michael Traub, various lot area occupied, maintained second-story deck with trellis and stairs, all attached to dwelling, and with the conditions that was just stated.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Okay, 210. Cases 210 and 211 of 2025, New Island Park. This is the first Madden, Robert Madden. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, maintain addition, 2-foot cantilever and portico, all attached to dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintain a shed. Property address is 239 Madison Avenue, near Island Park. Do I have any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
Well, I think we were talking about there was some shrubbery that, on the neighbor's driveway area, I think that
Oh.
needed to be,
Yeah, I had a conversation with her unrelated to that, and a housekeeping matter, and she's gonna go back to the guy, check how far it is from the shrub to the neighbor's drive, how far the end of the shrub is to the sidewalk, and then call it and propose how much to cut back so there's proper visibility. So she's gonna get those numbers, talk to her client, and then get back to them.
She's very
said she was gonna do, I had the impression right away. I don't know, maybe we should reach out to her, make sure she's gonna get it done between. Yeah, I just didn't know any measurements because there was none there. Well, we can,
Bless you.
bless you.
Hold it.
She's slow to get back to us.
Well, is that not her problem?
Yes.
If she's slow to get back to us and you don't get an approval? Yeah. Okay, but send her a gentle reminder. Okay, cases 212, 213, and 214 of 2025. The second Madden, Michael P. Madden and Joan E. Passarella. Very nice presentation. By the way, on the prior case, 210 to 211, there should be a condition that the portico, well, no, we're going to hold it, but the portico has to be kept open. 212 through 214, the other Madden and Passarella, we're going to recharacterize that, not
Yeah.
as a use variance?
Correct, so should we put it on reserve, I'll do that decision, and we,
Yep.
the board
Yeah.
decide next.
The attributes of that case, we discussed it with Becky and council. The attributes of that case are less like a use, and we don't want to dilute the use variances. So in discussions with Becky, we're going to, based on the attributes, council's just determined that it's more likely, more properly characterized as a fourth accessory structure. And then we're going to amend, she's going to draft a grant, and we're going to analyze it in that box, and with Becky's counsel too. So we'll do that, yes.
Next case.
Yep.
61 of 2025, Woodmere, Ian J. and Kelly M. Nagar. Variances rear yard, side yard, maintained second floor addition attached to dwelling. Alteration and construction in excess of 50%. New CO required. Property address is 70 Brower Avenue in Woodmere.
So given that the proposal is really the footprint of the existing house that was along there, and in conjunction with discussions with Rebecca first and council, I would make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we grant as requested this case 61 of 2025 in Woodmere, 70 Brower Avenue, Ian J. and Kelly M. Nagar, and that council's draft included an explanation as to why such a small rear yard variance the board is going to allow, and so that it has very little precedential value for homes that weren't already there since 1925 in this location. I move that we grant it that way.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Last case on the morning calendar, case 145 of 2025, Elmont Priscilla Gordon, mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, southwest property address, 1509 Surprise Street. Surprise.
I move that we approve case number 145 at 1509 Surprise Street in Elmont be granted with the usual mother-daughter conditions.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thanks for bailing me out.
What do we have on the reserve calendar, if anything?
Okay, I have an update actually on 742 through 743 Belmore, Jason Stewart and Giannina Miranda. So the caption need not be amended. No additional variances were needed. The plan examiner re-reviewed everything. They have converted the garage back into a garage. It's no longer converted to living space. So according to the plan examiner, who happens to be the first, no additional variances were necessary. So I believe the board would be able to sign this case. Okay. We have a roof over patio and a pool with pool conditions.
Anybody like to make a motion?
Okay, I move cases 742 and 743 of 2024. Property location 3031 Susan Road in Belmore be granted as requested with all new pool conditions, and also the roofed over patio shall not ever be living space.
Enclosed. Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Need to, look at this, I just need to see the,
Next,
so if you could just pull the file. would you?
next case,
Site inspector.
anything else?
Yes, just one update on case 160 on page 2, Merit. That was the case where the board thought that the garage that was very large needed a height variance. It does need a height variance. They would like to keep the height variance, so that's going to have to be re-advertised and reheard.
Will we move it to the referral calendar then, or what? Let's see. Use variance of rear yard, maintain two-car garage. Well, you know what, it's,
We'll leave it.
when they have a, yeah, because when they have a maintain, we don't wanna leave it floating out.
Sure. And then I'm trying to think, I don't know if the board is ready to decide case 197 of 25? Board is to inspect, that was the house that was built too small, at least 3 feet tall.
Is this the one that we were on?
333 Grant Avenue.
I am,
Yep,
yeah.
hold it.
Okay, so board to inspect.
I'll
Can
go
you just
take the
glance and
case.
see?
Is there anything else?
That's it that we have.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. What are we gonna eat? I'm inclined to deny it.